how a person from very different zone come to Kathmandu, became the mayor of the country. I'm talking about Mr. Balin Shah.
There was a politics of division. Kathmandu chose a person from Tarai as the mayor. That was kind of telling the politicians, don't dig all the theories and then try and create upheaval.
If you look on the broader perspective, you'll see that only one billionaire is from the country.
The Nepalese law is very, very strict with foreign exchange. If they find me having undeclared foreign exchange in my pocket, they'll put me in jail.
So when we were coming here, we were reaching out to all the good businessmen of the country, but they were all in the foreign country.
To do well, you have to carry somebody's flag, Congress flag or a Maoist flag or a communist flag, and that's what's frustrating the young guys.
In the morning, I was watching this news that Mr. Prime Minister of the country is on the road with his protesters.
They're always thinking of how do I give the image of my party. So the governments are not government for the people. The government are continue to be party cadres or party leaders.
This will keep on continuing. Where this all will take the country?
Sometimes small is beautiful. I mean, India, China, it's such a vast country. It's so difficult to manage. Nepal can really do so well. Increase the tourists because we focus from Europe, America to just to this country. It gave instant results.
So first of all, Mr. Yogendra Sakya, thank you for being part of Impact Stories. Yogendra Sakya aka Yogi. So Impact Stories is all about making impact in the society, and I think Nepal people must see you as an impactful person, and you have done wonderful job in the tourism. So I first want to know, what was your journey so far? How was your journey?
Well, actually, you'll be surprised that I landed in tourism by accident, and it's a physical accident. I'm a science student. I was enrolled to go to Kharagpur as a mechanical engineer in IIT Kharagpur. And just in between that time, I had a little tiff with my neighbor. Whenever someone builds a wall, in this part of the world, there's always a little conflict. Go a little inch here and little inches there. I mean, in India, I think it's the same thing. So I got caught into that. The neighbor hit me with a stone. I lost my balance. So it was pretty bad. And I landed up in Vellore, because that was the best neurosurgery department, Dr. K.V. Mathai. So I stayed here almost 3 months, not being able to walk. Then there I met a engineer who did very well, and he did, textile engineering, and he was from Delhi. Because during those times, you either became a doctor or an engineer. The rest was only those who can make it in these two professions. So this guy, Vineshil Kapoor, because he also was a patient, because he had to take a shunt for his brain draining. So we became good friends. He just had finished engineering from Delhi School of Engineering. And every evening his advice to me was, why do you want to be an engineer? I am first engineer, and I'm struggling. A friend of mine has done hotel management, which is the new subject. So he was really my mentor who kind of convinced me and got me prospectus from Pusa Institute in Delhi. And the rest is history. I went there, did my hotel management, and I always joke I came with 2 certificates. I met my wife there.
Oh,
So she was also hotel management. She came from Kathmandu, so came with a management degree and a wife.
so this was not your family business?
No, it
Really?
wasn't.
It was completely your...
My family. I'm a Sakya, and Sakyas are into jewelry and gold business. In Nepal, every caste has a different role. So Sakyas are jewelers and goldsmiths. So my father actually was a very good jeweler, and we had a shop in a place called Asan. So I'm the first man who went out of the traditional Sakya business and got into hotel management. And I was kind of skeptical in the beginning, but later on we built a small 13 rooms in Tamil. And I think Tamil is Tamil today because of that little.
So you're the first one there.
Yes, yes. And then from there, in Nagarkot, and as I was telling you,
I was seeing Nagarkot also a barren land. So you must be the first one who initiated the fire.
yes, yes. So from that aspect, I suppose, well, I won't say I'm a big hotelier, but definitely I had taken the challenge to not just build a hotel, but been able to make a destination by building a hotel. So that's probably one of the reasons why I suppose you got all that good thing about me that I made an impact.
And a lot of people now today will say, oh, he's a businessman, he's doing wonderful. But we were discussing last night that there was a days when you used to sweat the clothes and this. Talk about those early days, na? When
Oh,
you used
in,
to,
in Delhi. Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking about the heat in Delhi. And in fact, that's one
now
of the,
we behave sophisticated, but there was this time when we all came
Yeah,
for the
of course.
same journey. Yes.
I think we all go through the same
Yes.
door. Yeah, I remember those days in Pusa Institute. Delhi is so hot.
Right.
I mean, it went almost 47 degrees and no air conditioning. So our scientific air conditioning was take your bed sheet, wet it, stay under the fan, and then it would dry off in about half an hour or 45 minutes, wet it again. So went through all those exciting innovations.
So how many hotels now currently up and running with you? And how many it used to be?
Well, our family, my father and my uncle, then he had 2 children. My father had 2 children, so we're almost 10 hotels, and now it's divided into five Asian families.
But how it divided? It was initially done by you only?
No, my father was already there, my uncle. So we sat down. We said, "All right, you take this, you take this."
But it was a happy note.
Well, whenever there is division, there's always a bit of, oh, he got more, I got less, kind of a thing. But then at the end of the day, we're still,
But everybody has to go from this word empty-handed. Then still, but still we do so much tassel in our life.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, it's more on, the enjoyment of creating something and getting a little bit of patting like you are doing to me today, saying I have made an impact. That's
the one thing I was saying yesterday only. See, no matter what goes in life, up and down, that is part and parcel of life. What was the beginning and what was the vision that was very important? And I'm sure that was your take on the same.
Yes, especially, Kathmandu Guest House in Tamil, I have to give a lot of credit my own father and my uncle. It was a small hotel that started, so we all worked together. And I cannot, hog all the credit for it. But Club Himalaya, yes, I was quite revolutionary in a way because I wanted to create my own image, and it was challenging because Nagarkot, I showed you no electricity, no water, the road was just a track, and no telephone, of course. So I remember the early days when we just started one restaurant. There was no electricity, so we had to have live chicken.
Because of no fridge.
There was no fridge. And then we used to have one boy looking out and say, hey, there's a car coming,
Yeah.
Chop off, probably come, and then they don't come. So we had to teach them how to prepare a chicken without, keep chopping them before the guest comes in. So they learned the art of getting the chicken from the cage to the plate within 15 minutes. So those were
The days.
What
you worked with the government so closely about the tourism? What were the things you worked with the tourism?
Well, I led the Hotel Association Nepal from 1993 to 98. And I had the opportunity to lead the industry because, as I said, during those days, hoteliers were, hoteliers by experience and not by doing a hotel management course. So we were only about 4 or 5 people who were actually had studied hotel management. So that way, at a very young age, not only could I lead my own business, I was also able to, get into the national framework of tourism at a very early age. And I think that was one of the things that what my friends told me then. If I had been an engineer, I would have just been one of them. But maybe I had the opportunity to outshine because I was one of the first ones to do hotel management. So sometimes by accident,
Destiny plays a bigger role.
as I said, by accident, you can have, not all accidents are bad.
And one I can see from you after meeting you, I can one thing very sure. It's keep on growing because you not only see everybody as a business perspective, you always see personal perspective first. So I think the people who are more kind and hearted, they face much of the challenges than as compared to tough people.
Yes. Well, that philosophy of yours, how do you do? You're too young to have that philosophy.
You must have gone through long disheartened things because of being a good human being and being kind to other people. But those people have one impact for sure, that they whatever they create with somebody, that go longer road.
Karma.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very true. While on one hand, I'm saying, all the honky tonky things that we have 10 hotels and we had Nagarkot and whatever. I mean, let's take, for example, this hotel, Ambassador Hotel. I lost land 3 times.
Oh.
And the last time I had to break the whole hotel down and rebuild. So, again, for me, all accidents have been good accidents. Well, 3 times I lost the land in 1963 when we had just started constructing this hotel. Queen Elizabeth came, and this was a small lane, and she was to go from the Royal Palace, which is right next door, to the Royal Guest House, which is now the President's Palace. And King Mahendra, the king who was before King Birendra, was royal massacred. So his father, and so they imported a big Impala car, and they wanted to take her to the royal guest house, and they had to widen the road. And who has sacrificed for the road? Half of that road is actually my property.
This road.
Yeah. So that was the first time. Then second time, again, Queen Elizabeth. I look like every time she comes, I lose a little bit of land. She came. She was our royal guest. This time by his son, King Birendra, in 86. And she was to go from the royal guest house
To this place.
to the British Embassy. I showed you yesterday. And my land was protruding a bit outside. And this time the king wanted to impress her, not with a Impala car, but with 6-horse carriage. So they were trying to get they practiced, and they said, no, we have to cut a little bit of land of this hotel. So I lost the nose. The third time was the Republic government, Baburam Bhattarai, who one of his success story is road widening. So he wanted to widen the road. And this time, not only my land, I had to chop off part of my hotel. So I put up a big banner. I mean, just to reiterate what you were saying, because I had no choice. I said, change is opportunity. And they said, wow, what a positive guy. And I remember Dr. Baburam's wife, who was also a minister, saying, "Oh, you guys are so positive." And I wrote her in Nepali, "Mutu mathi dunga rakhi hasnu parya cha," saying that, well, I had no choice. And, when in those times, you have no choice but to put a heavy stone on your heart and smile. But after that, when this hotel was completed, I had the same prime minister. He was no more a prime minister, Dr. Baburam. I said, "You broke my hotel, you'll inaugurate my hotel." So he came, and then I told him, "Well, when you broke my hotel, I not only me, my whole family really cursed you with all kind of galis. But I said, thank you for breaking it. Otherwise, this hotel would not be what it is." Yeah. So sometimes karma, just to add to what you were saying.
So, and I what I feel, say it's my first time in Nepal, in Kathmandu also. I feel this country got so much opportunity, but still, why this country is so underrated? Being from different land, I came here and I thought, why people are not coming here often? Like it must be tourism is very high, but it can be much better than this. So, is it the lack of government or is it the lack of something else?
I think as far as tourism is concerned, it's all been driven by the private sector.
Right.
Right. And our biggest problem of tourism in Nepal is connectivity, both air and land. Our roads
Not
are not so good, and our connectivity is by air. We have one airport, and earlier we never thought Nepalese would be traveling in that volume. We were only thinking that airport was enough for tourists. Yes, if it was only tourists, that airport would have been enough. But today, I think the travelers by air would be only 40% tourists and 60% Nepalese. And that's increasing. The Nepalese are traveling for education, for health, and for employment. So, because of that, I think we have always, because connectivity is so important. So I think that would be the basic reason. And the other is, if we look back how our tourism started, for us, tourism meant the white guys. It started with the hippies. In fact, they put us in the tourism map, and that would go back to the 1960s and 70s. And I think so. We were so focused on just Europeans and Americans who came here actually for the challenges. Adventure tourism, climbing, rafting, all the challenges. And they came for a story they want to take back home. And the story they take back home is they go back home saying, I went to Nepal. I traveled with the goats and the chickens and I got sick and everybody's listening in their dining table. Wow. You're such a strong person to take the challenge. And that's what we were selling. And probably because we were selling Nepal as an adventure destination, as a challenge destination, it was very sellable in Europe and America,
but
not in Asia.
Right.
It was only in 2011, and in fact, I had the opportunity to lead that campaign, that we said, hey, wait a minute. If we want more tourists, Europe and America, we have imaged ourselves as challenging but rewarding, which is very sellable, and it's the way you sell it. And we were very clever in doing that. We were charging $100, $200 to make a person walk. I mean, if you look at Nepalese tourism, very innovative,
Right.
So we were selling because we know that's what they want to come here for. And we did not deceive them by saying, oh, Nepal is beautiful. We said, no, it's challenging. If you come to Nepal, be ready to be stuck in Lukla for 3 days because the weather can be bad. It was very honest selling. But for India, China,
Nearby
the big
countries,
buy,
yes, Asian countries.
no, they need little more luxury, little more comfort. Honestly, we Asians are, because we have helpers at home, so they need much more. No, we don't. So in 2011, it was probably one of the worst times in our tourism history, because we had just come out of the civil war. Well, the people's movement, the Maoist movement, and tourism had dipped down from 500,000, which was the stable figure, to 2,500, 2.5 lakhs. And we focused into China and India, and the whole thing jumped to 800,000. Our target was 1 million, but we achieved 80%, in fact, of the worst times. And that's when now the bank started pushing investments in hotels. And the result of that, again, is little alarming, because now we have more hotel rooms than tourists.
This was my next question, yes. So even we were talking last night also that earlier it was less tourist and started coming in. Now we have more hotels than tourists, which is again a challenging thing.
Yes, challenging, because now most of these hotels are, funded by banks. 20% is the owner, and probably 80%
Is the bank.
is the bank. The ratio is, of course, 70-30. 30 the owner and 70 the bank. And for hotels, they have been so kind. They said, look, we will give you even more from the bank. So now the challenge is, if those hotels, don't do well, it's not the owner who's going to suffer. It's the bankers and it's the public.
But what for who are the very good hoteliers who really want to do by their own things? It's going to be tough for them.
Yes, it is. And that's why there is a euphoria of getting foreign chains. Now they are not magician either. So it's a very challenging time. It's an opportunity, because we can accommodate 35 lakh tourists, and our arrival is just 12 lakhs. So our capacity is 35 lakh. We are only getting 1/3 of our capacity. But touch wood, our domestic tourism has really grown over, especially after the COVID. And the domestic tourism went up very much because Nepalese love to party. We just need an occasion, marriage. You have so many occasions. So a lot of these hotels survive because these parties. In fact, if you look at a 5-star revenue, 60% is food and beverage, and 40% is room. And that 60% maximum is coming through, these parties and celebrations from the Nepalese market. And even in hotels like mine in Nagarkot, my ratio is almost 50-50. 50% Nepalese. And this has happened just within this 10 years. And especially, actually, more after the COVID. And also because earlier, our society did not allow boys and girls to travel, very orthodox. In fact, I still remember my hotel in Nagarkot. I used to always say, hey, other young boys and girls, make sure they're husband and wife. We almost felt like we had to police, social policing. I'm sure it must have been almost similar in India as well.
Still there in some.
Yeah. So, but now the whole society has opened up. And I say, now, if the parents don't care, who am I to say, hey, who is this? So things have changed. Not only because of because of the social changes. Restaurants are now bubbling with local Nepalese. And also, it's amazing that sometimes I wonder, because these young people, where do they get the money from?
It's again a question mark.
Which is again a question mark. And when in fact, I had a friend from Holland, and he was so surprised. There were 12 girls in that restaurant, young girls, dining. And this friend of mine from Netherlands, my God, this is a very expensive restaurant. And these young girls are just probably, 27, 20, how come, spending so much money? So I said, there are 2-3 category of these girls there. Okay. I said, 30% of those girls work in IT, into banks, where they get, 4-5 figure salaries. And in Nepal, unlike in Holland and in Europe, these young people don't have to make a house or, so whatever they earn, they can spend. So maybe 4 of them are of that category. Okay. And I said the other 4, probably their parents are slogging in some other country, migrant workers.
Right.
They said, we suffered, but we want our children to have good,
That's how it goes.
So they have been getting money from their fathers who are hardworking. And I said the other 4 are people who have making a lot of money, and their fathers said, well, what can I spend? Go ahead, enjoy.
Yesterday also this thing very surprised me. That there's a old laws I still keep on running. Like one we talked about. I think this country have a lot of potentials. Even the businessmen have a lot of potential. Even I'm meeting many of them. But if you look on the broader perspective and come down to on the road, you'll see that only 1 billionaire is from the country, which can't be possible in such a huge country. There can be many possibilities because I cannot doubt the capability of the businessman. But then I figured it out when you told me that this is not about the business, it's about the law. So don't you think these old school laws still will be there? Then it's going to be very challenging for the coming businessmen.
I think you're talking about Binod Chaudhary being in the Forbes, and why not the other Nepali?
Very surprised on this.
Yeah. Well, you see, the Nepalese law is very, very strict with foreign exchange. For example, I have the authority to get foreign exchange in my hotel. But do you know that if they find me having undeclared foreign exchange in my pocket, they'll put me in jail? Every foreign exchange that I earn, that the tourist gives in a reception, I have to immediately give a receipt. Sometimes the bank, the national bank, comes here and does a surprise check. Have I declared everything, or is there undeclared dollar in my safe? So which means that even if I'm making dollar income, I have to give everything to the government. So if I am found investing in foreign country, I'm already in the radar that where did you get that foreign exchange? So now, then you might wonder, how come So I think his few sons are in holding different passport, and you have to, even to do good business, you have to do all this hanky panky kind of a thing. So in a way, our law says go out and be a worker, but don't be an owner. So these are, of course, I understand the government wants to keep foreign exchange in the country because we need foreign exchange for every export, for import. Right. But then I think now it's time that we change our attitude. Don't go and be a worker, go and be an owner. And there are a lot of NRN, non-resident Nepalese who have given up their passports, working out. They're all owners.
You know why I was surprised? So when we were coming here, we were thinking of the making Nepali series, right? We were reaching out to all the good businessmen of the country. So what happened? Many of them replied us back, but they were all in the foreign countries, sitting in the foreign countries. They were not. They're not anymore Nepalese. They are the citizen of that country, and we were very surprised. How come they doing so much good in the business? Why didn't they want to be in their own country? Which is again disheartened.
Well, these are old laws, old school of thoughts. I think with the whole changing world, the government needs to. You see, we have changed from monarchy to republic,
Right.
but the baggage carries on. And as I said, it's a meritocracy. It is more patronage. And I think the frustration of the young people is because, you have to carry somebody's flag, a Congress flag or a Maoist flag or a communist flag. And they say, why? I don't want to be anybody's, flag carrier or be somebody's caterer. I want to do things. And especially the young people these days, they have their own pride that I want to be who I am, to the extent they don't even want to walk with their father because they say, I'm not going to be living under my father's shadow. So when you have, that's good, you know. And then now, forget about working under your father. Now to do well, you have to carry somebody's jhola, and that's what's frustrating the young guys. And they said, no, those guys who are capable, they are all going out.
Yeah, that's why I was saying, because if these smart minds will go out from the country, what benefit will country get? Because they are working for other country and making good for them, which is again a loss.
I think there's a big frustration, anger, because it's really the participation of the people, that 240-year-old monarchy was abolished and republic came in. So, when you look at some of these leaders, I mean, they come from a very, very simple background. So in a way, people say it can only happen in America that a peanut seller can be a president. It's the same in Nepal. I mean, if you look at the backgrounds, these guys, well, they went into politics, but unfortunately, rather than demonstrating, their being for the country, they're all trying to control everything for their parties, and everything is patronage. And I think they've got to change, trying to control people through party. So it's more of a not democracy for the people, but it's more party politics. And I think the frustration you can see has led into people again coming to the streets and saying, well, the monarchy was better.
What I was very much interested in knowing the monarchy also. So I was very much interested yesterday also when you were telling us the story about royal massacre. What was exactly went?
Well, the royal massacre happened because Prince Dipendra was in love with Devyani. And he wanted to marry her. But for some reason, the parents didn't agree. So I think that kind of built up, and to the extent anger built up. And I think there was a certain amount of frustration also. I think when you are born a prince and you're destined to be a king, because he was the first child, and he was to be the king. And King Birendra was a very benevolent person. In fact, if you compare his father, King Mahendra, who ruled with an iron fist, he was kind of giving in more to the people. He said that the world is changing, so there was a certain amount of family politics and a little bit of love story. So this person, Prince Dipendra, said, well, if I'm going to be a king, I want to be a king like my grandfather, maybe, I don't know. So all this added up together, and in one of those parties, I think he just got berserk.
And how many people died?
Nine. What was it? So the first, I think he shot his father. Then I think his yeah, I don't know the chronological order, but then last was, of course, his mother and his brother. So his uncle, his aunts, so 9 of them were massacred. Of course, there's always a a kind of controversy story that he did not do it. The reason I am able to say this is because one of the person who was killed is Kumar Kharga Bikram Shah, the king's brother-in-law, and he actually was my partner in Club Himalaya.
Oh, okay.
When we started. Of course, he's no more there. Right. And his sons had told me, and I don't think anybody's children will take a fake story.
Right.
And the others who were also, some of them who were there, that told me. And so I think I believe more of that story than the conspiracy theory that it's this one or that one or a mask or,
So just to understand the politics also. So now the current king who's asking for the rulership is not from the same bloodline. No. It's from the bloodline, but not the king bloodline.
Well, the eldest son becomes the king.
Yes.
So King Birendra was the eldest son, so he was the king. Then after him, it wouldn't go to his brother, it would go to his son, who is again Dipendra, who actually, did the massacre.
Okay.
And because all of King Birendra's family, the 2 sons,
All got.
even the sister, so all of his family were all massacred. So the next in line was King Gyanendra. And by the way, he had also been a king when he was a little boy. So this was his second time. So so the line is changed because of the royal massacre.
Okay, that's the thing. Even I was in the morning, I was watching this news that Mr. Prime Minister of the country, he is on the road with his protesters just to protest. If a Prime Minister of the country will protest, what will be the Nepalese image on the global scale will look like? Because Prime Minister, the prime member of the country, right? So don't they care about the global image also, which is very important in today's generation? So why people in the country will respect the politics?
I know this is. I mean,
Money for me, it was.
for everybody, because when a party goes to the government, they have to act like a government.
Yes.
I think it's very unfortunate that even when they go to the government, they don't think they're the government of the people. They think they are government of the party, and for them, they're always thinking of how do I, give the image of my party, and that's exactly why people are frustrated. So the governments are not government for the people. The government are government. They continue to be party cadres or party leaders, and they have the whole thing is not giving credit to who deserve, but then making, giving to those people who are sycophants. So during the monarchy time, that was the biggest thing, chakari. Everything is chakari, everything is sycophancy. And but it continues, So I wish the politicians understood this basic thing and give, meritocracy the due credit rather than patronage, of political patronage. And as I said, especially my worry is I learned the art of corruption probably. I had to go through it.
Right.
I learned the art of, there's a Nepali word called setting, which is, the politicians, the businessmen, the bureaucrat, they all come together, they set everything, they make the rule suiting them. Maybe I learned that art also. But now my survival, now I'm worried about my son. So a lot of people ask, why are you talking politics? I said, I'm not talking politics. I learned all this chakari, even how to bribe, how to do setting, right? But my son refuses to do that. He was educated in America. I gave him the best education. Right. Now he doesn't believe in this. And if he doesn't believe in that, he won't survive here. And if he doesn't want to survive, he'll go back. So if I'm talking politics, it's not because I know politics. It's not because I want to be an influencer. It's for the basic reason I don't want to lose my son.
Right.
And a lot of people like me, in their late 60s and 70s, early 70s, our worry is, I'm very, very lucky that my son came back. A lot of those, I have friends who have business, they just say, oh my God, what do I do?
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why I still continue to venture for new thing, and I'm not losing, I'm not retiring, is because I know he's there to continue. Now, if we cannot change and give space to him for his credibility, he's very hardworking, but he refuses to. I tell him, I said, oh, no, you must have to go to the minister and talk to him. I said, why? He doesn't like that. So my worry is more for him, and my thing of talking about politics and all these changes is, I want my son to stay here.
And I have also came across with this new news also that even King came back for asking his own government back, right? He wanted again to the monarchy thing, and government is refusing to do that. So this is tussle is going on in the country.
Right.
So how you see this tussle?
I think a lot of those people who are in the streets, maybe 25% are hardcore monarchists.
Okay.
But 75% are those who are just fed up with this republic, with the cost of running the government. For a small country, our cost of running the government is very, very high, because we have federal system. We have, it's the national coffer is being used to employ party cadres. That's how it is. So everybody's saying, well, I'm paying for these people to get employment. And as I said, in that restaurant, of course, being a hotelier, maybe I cannot complain because I lose that business. But this is what is happening. It is costing the taxpayer unnecessary money, going into funneling into, in the name of federalism. A lot of money is being spent on and giving employment to the caterers, and people are joining politics not because they want to do something for the country. People are joining politics because they want to make good money. So that's become a trend. It's not just the leaders, and it's whenever, for example, I'm having a project in Pokhara at the moment, so there is all these political groups who come and disturb.
Okay.
So even progress, development. So every time they create an environment that I have to go and say, please, can you please tell your caterers to allow me to do work? So that is why 75% of those people in the streets are these people who are being bullied, practically bullied unnecessarily by political party cadres, leaders. So they said, well, if we have to have the same system, then it's better. At least we can only please one king. Now we have to please 100 kings.
Is it because of this reason Nepalese currency losing value, economically losing value also?
Yes, fortunately we are pegged with the Indian currency. So kind of we're hanging on. Should our currency have been in the basket, I think our Nepalese rupees to a dollar would have been probably, I don't know exactly, but definitely much more, because we are hanging on with the Indian currency.
Right.
So our Nepalese currency is still, managing it. Yeah.
What see, it's very difficult to understand all the things because it's very complicated in the country. I'm trying to grab everything, what the hold of every situation you're talking about. So if this will keep on continuing, where this all will take the country?
You see, sometimes small is beautiful. Nepal is such a small country, like Switzerland, like Singapore. I mean, India, China. I mean, it's such a vast country. It's so difficult to manage.
Exactly.
This should have been so easy to manage comparatively. And we have these two big economic powers, India and China, and we're just in between, a buffer zone.
Right.
I mean, see the potential, even politically,
Advantage.
And as I said, 2011, when we increased the tourists, because we focused from Europe, America to just to this country. And it gave instant results, So, I mean, you are here, you're confused, you're so saying, what's going on? You can imagine, we see it, it's there, tourists. I mean, look, in Delhi, it's 42 degrees. You were here yesterday. We stayed, you needed a blanket. In Kathmandu, 24 degrees. And I was saying, let's go to Nagarkot, you will need a bonfire. 16 degrees.
Being in the center, China is here, India is here. Whom exactly Nepal is supporting to?
We are a buffer zone.
Yeah.
You see, of course, as I was saying, if you look at the Nepalese people, you see a bit of they're from the hills, they're more Mongol.
Right.
If you go and you look at the other, they're more like you all, very Aryan, very sharp features from the Tarai. And in the valley, probably a mix of, I'm from the valley, So as far as even the food habits
are similar.
No, the hills is more Tibet, China, plains is more India, and we have both the valley. So your question, are we more towards the left or towards the right, more south or north? No, we have.
Or you're smarter at the center.
No, I think we have an advantage.
Yes, but the government need to get the advantage, no?
Exactly. So I think we like to say, India and Nepal are more similar. But when you go to the hills, they're the other side. So there is a definite balance. And earlier, I think, for example, the Chinese, I think their whole politics is based on economy. And it's amazing, they're a communist country. And the way they looked at Nepal is, if it's something to do with money, yes, we will talk about it. If it's nothing, if it's politics, we're not interested. You can listen to India. Have a good relation. But now, with the geopolitics changing, and China wanting to also be a political power and a, power taking tucker with America. So now I can see they're saying, hey, wait a minute, now we also need bit of importance politically. So it is true, China who looked on Nepal that, well, you are more Indian and you have more relation with them, it's okay, we don't mind. I kind of see a little bit of a different tone saying that, wait a minute, we also need recognition. So I think that way, is it good, bad, ugly? I don't know, but I think it's definitely now they're taking political interest,
Right.
and probably that's why in India now they're also concerned: are the Nepalese going to go north or are they going to go south? Yeah. But I think like King Birendra, he was, and his father King Mahendra, who maintained equidistance. I remember they built a road from China to Nepal, and India was very skeptical about it. Oh my God, are the Chinese going to bring tanks and use Nepal as a route to attack? I don't think so. With the new technologies now, you don't really need to cross each other. You can shoot each other from any distance. So things have changed. But I think being a buffer zone, being earlier, we used to say we are between two boulders. And now we don't say that. We are two boulders. We are between two economic giants. What an opportunity, right? And I think for tourism, for everything, yes, Nepal can really, really do so well.
My second last question: if people of the country don't like politics that much, how a person from a very different zone come to Kathmandu, became the mayor of the country? I'm talking about Mr. Balin Shah. How he became so popular then?
I'm so happy. You know what? There was a politics of division. The people in the Tarai were Tarai, and they're more towards India, and they have their relation with India is much closer. There are a lot of Indian origin people who have migrated. Right. So when after Republic, there was a big Madhesi movement, and they were really pouring out their anger and frustration that the people from Kathmandu and the hills mistreated them.
Okay.
And almost looked at them as, oh, you guys are for Indians, or there was discrimination.
Even in the same country.
In the same country. Well, in the past, there used to be, well, I think the Madhesis called the parties in a derogative connotation, okay? And I think there did exist, for example, one sect of the people to call the other some different name, which was a bit derogative. I mean, you had that, but now with the education, the people are studying in the same school. For example, I studied in St. Xavier's. I mean, I studied with the people, prime ministers' sons and daughters. So I never had that complex. Okay, that I'm Newar, he's Chetri, he's Baun. Education really blends. So because of that, education, this new society does not say you are this and you are that. They are friends. Right. And we are welcome to there. And they were using that very old, thing of how they were mistreated. And Kathmandu, where they were saying they were mistreated, chose a person from Tarai as the mayor. And I think that was good. That was kind of telling the politicians, don't dig all, the theories and then try and create upheaval. Now the whole Madhesi movement is almost dead. So politicians trying to use, all these unnecessary issues, and there are all issues. I think Balin Shah coming as the mayor of Kathmandu was the best thing to happen. And he was an independent person. Right. And that's why I think he can do what he can do. And now it's giving a lot of strong messages to the parties, with the monarchy, people coming in the streets, with individual, without having any party support, being able to perform. So I think if they don't learn now, I don't know when they will learn.
So before closing this episode, whatever you feel, now it's camera and stage all yours. Whatever you want to say about the countries, about anything, can be anything about your personal life, something you can say. This is now all yours.
I think you've asked me everything.
But no, your stage is yours. Now it should be from your heart. Whatever you want to say.
No, I think politics controlling workplace, politics using politics of division. I think these are all old style. It's the British who taught politics of division, divide and rule. Now the politics should be, unite and prosper. So I think if our politicians change their ways, don't want to be too powerful, because they like power. They have a union in my hotel so that I come and say, please, can you... I don't go to the labor department.
Oh.
My worker doesn't go to the labor department. So they are the ones. They said, well, let me wait and see. They'll create a problem here so that I go there and my staff goes there and say, please, can you unite us? And what is happening? They're enjoying that power. And then within that power, I have to entertain them. And their whole philosophy is, unless I give them a little trouble, how can I get this money? So I think they have to change that whole thing. And I think if they change that, they don't need to be afraid of the monarchy.
So today on this episode, I was able to learn there's the king is there, politics is there, caste system was there, and there were many problems going on, but still country is able to manage everything. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.